is MLB Live Before Lock Time right here at Awesemo.com. That is Awesemo Alex Baker. I am Jason Floyd. Alex, how you doing on this Tuesday afternoon, man?
Doing good, man. This is a huge week. I mean, we got NFL coming back, and I'm hoping we can win some money to throw down on Thursday and Sunday because there's some big contests.
Yeah, it is. It's a game week for me, so yeah, it's all the preparations have started for this week. Yeah, it's looking forward to getting back in the broadcast booth this weekend. It's been, it feels like December was such a long time ago, so looking forward to it. Of course, we're here to talk about today's MLB slate. We are sponsored by Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. You gotta go over to Yahoo, check out all the contests they got on for tonight. Main slate, we got 9 games tonight, Alex. Starting at 7:05, and of course, right now over at Awesemo.com, our free content of the day is MLB player rankings. So go over right now to Awesemo.com to see those MLB player rankings. But of course, we always like to start off with the pitching, and you know, Alex, we typically will always talk about the high end pitchers. I kind of want to go a little bit on a lower end in a way. I want to start off with the Miami Marlins. What is your thoughts on the pricing on Sanchez in relation to DraftKings and FanDuel?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you can give me the prices here. I think I saw.
So 6,200 on DK, 9,000 on FanDuel, $40 on Yahoo, and a 1.9 times multiplier on SuperDraft. When I see that big a discrepancy between one side to another, I started going, wow. It makes me wonder, is Sanchez going to have some high ownership in that SP2 spot on DraftKings?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what to make of Sanchez because, he's just a rookie and he had a great first game. But then he's facing a tough team in the Braves, and they're projected to score 5 runs, which makes me think that the bettors kind of have Sanchez pegged as above average pitcher, maybe, or just about average. So definitely someone that you can get in DraftKings. But I think there's some really great pitchers on tonight's slate that we can look to as well.
Yeah, another in terms of a difference in pricing that I saw was Hauser going for the Brewers, 8,000 on DK, 5,800 on FanDuel, and $32 on Yahoo.
Yeah, Hauser going against the Tigers. I mean, the Tigers have been a really weak team this year so far, so I think that that's a nice bump. But again, he's not necessarily that star pitcher that we want to have in DFS. So I'm hoping maybe people go to him because of the matchup and because of the fact that the Brewers, they're the 143 favorite in this game, but I think there's better strikeout pitchers out here that we can draw from too.
By the way, people are saying, aren't you supposed to be in the bubble tonight?
Yeah.
We just need a little headband on you.
Well, this is my pregame.
And looking at some of these top pitchers on the slate, I would say the one pitch that was coming up a lot for me when I was doing some crunches about an hour ago was Lance Lynn.
Okay, yeah, that's more along the lines of what I'm thinking tonight. I think that Texas, their new park, they've been really good for pitchers, and he's going up against the Angels, which isn't a great matchup, but he's just been lights out this year, close to a 30% strikeout rate, and he's 9,400, which that is not a super high price for a star pitcher. The thing I like the most about Lynn here is he's an underdog, 123 in favor of the Angels. And I mean, you might be like, what the heck? You're crazy. Why would you want an underdog pitcher? Because you get points for the win. But I know a lot of people, they really pick their pitchers based off of that money line. What's more important to me is the runs expected, which is 4.5. That's a moderate amount that we can deal with.
Of course, if you want to see and shop those lines, go over to Awesemo.com under Odd Shopper right there at the top of the page. You can find that money line right there on all these games. So you definitely got to check that out. Some other top options here that you have on tonight's slate. Clevenger going for the Padres, 9,700 DK, 9,600 on FanDuel, $46 over on Yahoo. Bueller going for the Dodgers, 10-2 on DK, 10-4 on FanDuel, and $48 on Yahoo.
Yeah, Clevenger, I mean, he's got a great matchup versus Colorado, and they're in San Diego, which is a great pitcher's park. So I think you got to really look at Clevenger as a top play today. And then in the next game, basically like all the chalk is on the West Coast tonight somehow, because we got Walker Buehler. He's the biggest favorite on the board versus Arizona, which is a little bit of a surprise, but that looks like it could be a decent spot too.
Yeah, another pitcher that's kind of come up for me a little bit too was Andrew Haney even. And I mentioned about Lance Lynn was coming up a good amount for me. Haney was coming up as well.
Yeah, he's got really good strikeout numbers. The main thing here for Haney is the matchup. So he's going up against Texas in a good pitcher's park in Texas. Texas, they strike out a lot, 25% their lineup tonight as a team. Which is about 10% higher than average. You add that onto a pitcher who's already a great strikeout pitcher, and you're in business. I think that is a great spot for Haney.
Of course, you can see it right now on the screen. Jordan's got up the MLB player projections, which are free today. MLB player rankings, which are free today over at Awesemo.com. So you can check out what we have going on over there. Of course, do want to let you know today's show is sponsored by Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. They are the most trusted name in fantasy sports. Yahoo DFS now includes CSV edit and CSV upload features when you're looking to play those multiple lineups. Make better choices. Choose Yahoo Daily Fantasy. When we look at the pitcher side of things, the fourth highest pitcher on DraftKings today is Walk at 9,200. However, you want to take him on Yahoo, Alex? $27.
Yeah, that is a pretty good price on Yahoo. Waka, not really a tremendous pitcher, though, so I'm not super excited about that.
Of course, let's move over to the stacks today. As I was putting together my spreadsheet today for lineups when about 10 minutes before we started doing the show, I know the only three lineups we did not have, maybe they've come in at this point, were the Angels, Mariners, and Giants. There was, is there? I know the Dodgers in our top stack tool was coming up, large today. I mean, but the thing with I look at that Dodgers lineup and say, find me the value. On either slate, unless you're going to the 7, 8, 9 hitters, find the value in the top 6 for me, Alex.
Yeah, I mean that's the spot where they're going to be super high owned, and the way people are going to complete those lineups is by going to some value players that aren't very good, to be honest. So I think there is an advantage in the Dodgers where you just take all the expensive players, and maybe that's the lineup construction that's not as popular. But when that Dodgers stack goes off, it might not matter too much about what pitchers you have with them.
Yeah, that's the thing that I was looking at. Some other top stacks we're looking at. I mentioned about the Dodgers being expensive. The Chicago White Sox are another expensive stack. If you want to go out there looking at their lineup today, you got Anderson 5,600 on DK, Grandal 5,000, and Peru 5,000, 5,300, Jimenez 4,900. So that's another one that's coming up big for us today.
Yeah, I mean the White Sox have been exceptional this year. I mean they're leading the AL Central last time I looked, so pretty solid start to the year, and I think that going up against Musgrove, who's always our favorite value pitcher, but not just because of his price in DFS more than his talent. So I think that this is as good a spot as any for a team that has a ton of power.
Of course, we're about 20 minutes away before lock. Of course, be sure to hit that thumbs up button here on YouTube. That does help us out a lot. Of course, if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, notification bell, let you know when we have new content up here on the Awesemo YouTube channel. Looking at some other stacks in terms of today, let me throw one out at you, maybe one of the lower ones in terms of our stacks. How about, maybe a Cincinnati stack as someone who, just kind of looking at what we see as ownership share. They're one of the ones that are kind of down there.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're looking for because we know every MLB team has enough pop to get it done here. Now, the line in this game is only 7.5. That does seem extremely low. So that is concerning. But none of the ownership's going to Cincinnati as well. They're only about 1% of all the ownership tonight. So that's definitely a stack that maybe it doesn't have as good a shot, but they're going to win you big money when they hit because no one else has them.
Yeah, someone just mentioned in the chat about a potential Mariners stack. And as of right now, I have not seen a lineup come in on the Mariners yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Mariners they could be pretty good. I know EMAC, his favorite park is this this park in San Francisco. So I think that
favorite. I mean, you need to go like all caps on that one.
Definitely, yeah. He's like, this is the new Coors Field and stuff. I mean, I don't know about that, but I know that Logan Webb isn't a tremendous pitcher, and the Seattle lineup's not great either. So that's why no one has them, and maybe why you could take a shot on them today.
One of the lower stacks that I do see here on this one, I mentioned about the Reds, is we got the Cubs. They're really low owned. I mean, you're looking for that contrarian play. I mean, I know there may be a lot of people in the chat that maybe you're just a single entry kind of player, and you're like, how do I separate myself from the rest of the field if you're getting in one of these big tournaments? I can look at that Cubs. I mean, I love that Cubs lineup. Ian Happ, I love him at the top of that lineup.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're going to be super low owned. The problem is it's been rainy, and cold all day in Chicago. And then you take a park that the wind can be a factor, and they're just projecting this game to be real low scoring, despite the fact that the pitchers are pretty mediocre. So I'm just really thinking that maybe this game's a little bit too overpriced, and I'll try to gain some leverage in some other ways. But I look at their ownership at 0.4%. I mean, that definitely is pretty appealing.
By the way, I feel like you just sent the bat signal out to EMAC. You mentioned Oracle Park. He's right there in the chat. It's like he got the bat signal from you.
I know, yeah. I mean, that's his thing. So I know San Francisco being on the slate at home tonight, he's probably throwing down some big money on them. So.
One of the comments in YouTube is, as a Red fan, I recommend the Cubs stack.
Well, Tyler Mahle hasn't been real bad this year. He's won me some money with his strikeouts, so I'm not super excited about that. I think picking a pitcher from this game could be intriguing because you got weather that's extremely favorable for pitchers. And when you look at this on paper, Mahle versus the Cubs, people aren't going to be very excited about that. So I think that maybe he could be a sneaky play.
As Jordan says in the chat, because I can see him, as he says, looks out the window, it's a little cold and rainy outside there in Chicago. It's, I think here in Tampa, it's about to start pouring down rain. So hopefully, Jordan, I don't lose my power like the other day.
Oh, man. Yeah, everyone's been losing their power recently. I don't know how anyone plays DFS these days, because if it's lock and you lose your power, man, that's lights out.
Dude, it is between last 4 or 5 days here in Tampa, between 4 and 6, it has just been massive thunderstorms, and never good when you're doing a live show and all of a sudden magically your power goes out there. Looking at some other stacks that we really haven't mentioned, I guess, since you mentioned Oracle and you sent the bat signal to EMAC. What's your thoughts about the Giants?
Well, I think that the park, it has produced a surprising amount of runs this year, and the talent on the team has been impressive as well. So you got guys like Yastrzemski, he's hitting 0.275 ISO this year. Belt's at 0.33. These guys are really hitting lights out. On the whole, the top of the lineup's pretty good. The bottom of the lineup's pretty terrible. So it's a tough team to really come up with a lineup because everyone's going to be on the same guys. But with LJ Newsome on the other side, you got to think that this is a pretty appealing spot.
Another a low-owned stack that someone mentioned in the chat, the Tigers. I mean, you could pretty much put whoever you want in your lineup if you want to go with the Tigers.
Yeah, I mean, in general, so the Tigers today have a run total of 4.2, and I think that it's not that you can't make a good lineup with the Tigers. It's just that the best way to win a DFS is you find a team that is pretty low owned, but is like a really solid play, just because like the top teams tend to attract all the ownership. Today, that's Milwaukee, that's LA. So I'm going to be targeting that next tier of teams because they're going to be the ones with the best chances of success that maybe don't get as high ownership as they would if LA and Milwaukee weren't on the slate today.
Of course, I mentioned, you can see it up there on the chat. Today's free premium content is MLB player rankings. And of course, if you want to get access to all of our premium contents and tools, you got to sign up for an Awesemo Plus MLB weekly pass for $15.95. It'll get your ownership projections, player projections, a top pitcher tool, and so much more. Go to awesemo.com/join to sign up today. Over to the premium Slack channel, Alex, get this question for you. Want to know your thoughts on Adrian Hauser as a low price option on FanDuel? As they say, Detroit looks awful on paper tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a guy that he has some strikeout upside. He doesn't go like super deep in games. In fact, I have him going like a little bit less deep than most of the pitchers on the slate. Strikeout matchups about average with the lineup that the Tigers have today. So all in all, it's not really a spot I'm super excited about. And I'm worried that that matchup is going to get a little bit more attention than we might hope.
Of course, if you do have a question, you can line up right now in the YouTube chat. Also, if you're in the premium Slack account, just mention me so I can see the mentions, and that's basically a great way for me to be able to see the question. But of course, this last 15 minutes, so Alex, we do want to take nothing but questions. So if you do have a question, sure, fire those in right now. In terms of that, one of the lineups that I was looking at was the Mets lineup today. Robinson Cano not in the lineup. He's in an 0 for 17 slump. You look at that lineup, particularly on FanDuel, McNeil 2,700, Davis 2,600, Conforto 3,200, Todd Frazier 2,600. I feel like Todd Frazier's just cost me in so many season-long leagues. He just kind of goes on the bad list for me more than anything else. Pete Alonso in the fifth spot at 3,700.
Yeah, it's interesting because Alonso had been batting lower with a higher price. So now that that's come down, you got to really think that he's a pretty good play. The Mets might fall under that category of teams where not projected quite as well as the Brewers or Dodgers. So maybe that'll siphon away some ownership and we can get them. But Alonso at 3,700, that's a great price.
Yeah, by the way, the lineups have come in for the Mariners and the Giants, so everyone wants to know those are out there right now. So you can check that out. The only one I've not officially seen yet is the Angels. So pretty much all the lineups have come in so far. Let's see here. A favorite one-off shortstop today?
Honestly, I don't usually go position by position like that, so I just kind of go off my rankings. So maybe we can pull up the rankings because they're free today. Go and sort by points, and you can find all my 8 ranked players. Those would be the ones as one-offs that you might want to go to.
Someone asks, how did Nola get to 5,100 on DK?
I mean, he's really useful in fantasy because he is catcher eligible and he actually can bat. He's up high in the lineup usually. So definitely a guy that has value, and that's perhaps how he's so expensive.
Someone asked about Lance Lynn and cash. Do you like him more as a cash play than a GPP, or is it? I mean, I like him in all things tonight.
Yeah, I'm having him everywhere tonight pretty much because I'm just kind of anticipating that being an underdog, maybe he goes under the radar a little bit more than he would otherwise. And I mean, the Angels are a tough matchup, but he's just been a really good fantasy pitcher consistently. So I'm pretty happy with any Lynn shares today.
Someone asked about Spencer Turnbull, who's going to be going for the Tigers.
I think that he's not really cheap, which is surprising. I don't think he's been exceptional by any means. So, I don't see much reason to go there because you don't get like a big salary advantage. So I'd probably hold off today and go to some players like Haney, more ownership, but around that same price point and much better.
You know, you had mentioned about what the weather is like in Chicago. Is that becoming almost like a fade game for you today just because of the uncertainty with the weather?
No, I think the weather, like, it doesn't look like there's a lot of inclement weather. It's just that it's just not like good for bats, and that the obvious conclusion is we want pitchers from this game. So we got Alec Mills. He's not really a great fantasy asset, so I'd lean more on Tyler Mahle. 8,200 isn't cheap, but he's got good strikeouts and a good matchup. So I think he could be a good contrarian play today.
Someone asked about it, and this was in relation to FanDuel with Sanchez at 9,000 and Lance Lynn at 8,800. I feel like I know the answer that you're going to come with. I feel like you're going to say Lance Lynn.
Yeah, Lance Lynn's one of my top options tonight for sure.
Yeah. Just want to look at the ownership on him and see where he's at over on FanDuel. Where is Lance Lynn at? Yeah, he's one of the highest owned pitchers. So, second highest owned as we look at in our ownership projections. So we'll see how that goes. You got some home run pick? You got a home run pick for me?
Yeah, I'll go with Emacs recommendation and go with a player in Oracle and Brandon Belt, 33 ISO this year, 330 ISO. That is exceptional. So I don't want to take some shots on Belt for my home run pick.
That's a good one. One of the guys that kind of did stick out to me a little bit, I was looking at Avisail Garcia as one potentially for the Brewers. If I was going to give another one, I would go with giving Cody Bellinger for the Dodgers. I feel like that's an easy way out, but
never heard of him.
Yeah. Sneaky low-owned stack today. I know we kind of mentioned about some low-owned stacks in terms of being sneaky. There's a bunch of them out there, Alex. I mean, literally. If you want to just stay away from the Mets, Brewers, and Dodgers, you're going to be in a pretty good shape.
Yeah, if you want to know the sneaky stacks, just check my lineups in about 15 minutes here. But I'll give you guys some. San Francisco looks kind of good from ownership standpoint. The White Sox, they're kind of expensive today, as well as the Padres. And this is a bet on talent over value. So I think that maybe because the White Sox and Padres are just a little bit too pricey today, people will not go to them quite as much, and you can kind of sneak in and get them at low ownership.
One of the games that I don't think we've touched on at all would be the Marlins and the Braves.
Yeah, I think. You mentioned Sixto Sanchez. He is a good option at 6,200. So I think that you could go to him. He showed that he can get the strikeouts. The matchup versus Atlanta is pretty scary. So I also like the Atlanta bats. They have a team total of 5, which is solid, and they might fall under the category of teams that are a little bit too expensive today. So they could be a good contrarian play.
J3 was asking if you could touch on the Texas stack percentage in GPPs. As you look at it, that Rangers lineup today, I mean, obviously we're always going to look at Joey Gallo, but I mean, very affordable if that's the route you want to go.
Yeah, I think the Rangers stack, you get tons and tons of leverage because Haney is the most popular player of the day. So I think that is a reason why maybe you're like, well, I can kill two birds with one stone. My lineups, if this stack works, will score a lot of points and everyone else's will score fewer points because you're taking out 40% of the lineups. And that is one way you can get to win GPPs. The problem is everything else where, I mean, the park's not good. You got a matchup versus a really good pitcher. So I just don't think that's your best option, but there is some strategy to that.
Would you rather have a cheaper SP2 and a bigger bat, or one-off cheap bat and better than a Sanchez pitcher?
Most of my lineups have pitchers in the mid to high range. So Haney, Bueller, Lynn, and those are pretty much the staples of my lineups tonight. But then the one guy on DraftKings that I'm seeing is Sixto Sanchez. He just fits. Oh, and I forgot Male is also one of my preferred pitchers today. But Sixto Sanchez would be the play if you want someone who's a little bit cheaper, because he is 6.2K and he has some strikeouts, has a decent matchup as far as strikeouts, but there's a good chance he'll get blown up too.
You know, we briefly kind of talked about the pitching side of the Padres, but looking at the bats in this one, Grisham's going to be leading off, then Tatis and Machado. I mean, obviously those two guys, you got to pay up, substantially to get either one of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, they've been killing it this year, the Padres, and we know they got a great lineup these days. They're towards the top of the standings. The problem is the price. I mean, you got Tatis at 6K, 4,700 on FanDuel, 27 in Yahoo. He's pretty much the most expensive batter on the slate. And when you have a matchup versus Chichi Gonzalez, that's pretty good. The problem is that the park just doesn't help at all. It's a negative. So that makes it harder to love them at their prices. But that just drives the ownership down too. So I think the Padres are a pretty good stack to focus on today.
In terms of some other games we really haven't touched on, obviously we talked about the Dodgers side of things. We really didn't talk about the Diamondbacks side of things when it comes to the bats.
Yeah, I mean, the Diamondbacks are, let's see, they're projected for 4 runs. That's one of the lower marks today. You got Walker Bueller on the other side. I just don't see a lot of value there, despite the fact that Arizona is a team that has some power.
By the way, if you do have any questions, be sure to hit those up in the chat. J3 says, he goes, I like a 2-3-5 for Texas with chalky pitchers, risky for sure. Looking at that Rangers lineup, so he's going Tavares, Kenner, he's at 3 and 5. Then it would be Solak and Trevino. Risky. I think that's a great way to put it. But man, you can really set yourself up to get some high price options if that's a route you want to go.
Yeah, I'm doing some last minute scrambling here because I don't have Tice in my spreadsheet. We just got that Angels lineup. I'm putting that in, and then we'll have all the projections in, so make sure to...
Yeah, I mean, just looking at him, I mean, going to be batting second in the lineup tonight behind Simmons and right in front of Trout. So you got to imagine he's going to get some good pitches to potentially hit.
Yeah, I mean, it's surprising how high in the order he's batting. So maybe if you're looking for someone at the last second, putting in Matt Tice, that makes a lot of sense. He's 2,200 batting second. And as you said, he's going to get knocked in more often than not if he gets on base. 2,000
on FanDuel.
Yeah. I mean
look, if you wanted to go with an Angel stack, man, pot him in there at 2,000. That makes things kind of, your roster construction much easier.
Definitely, yeah. I think that, especially given that this lineup just came out 2 minutes before lock, maybe he is a little alone too. So that could be pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's something that you definitely got to consider as you're making your lineups. By the way, if you do have any questions here, as I'm trying to put my last lineup together as we're doing the show here. Interesting question from Brian here. He goes, is the best way to staying away from GPPs with a lot of pros is to only play contests $5 or less?
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, the number one rule of DFS is you make money from playing people who aren't as good at DFS as you. So, I mean, like the people you can find that aren't pros, the more of them that are going to be in a contest, the better odds you're going to have. And pros are restricted from contests under $5. So those are definitely the ones I'd focus on if I was working my way up.
Yeah. And look, and if you're a single lineup player, if you want to get that question right before the games, of course, we are at 7:05 now, so we have reached lock for the very first game, White Sox and Pirates. Boss man, anything else you want to touch on before we get out of here? I mean, I guess you got to get on a plane, get down to Orlando here,
Well, I mean, I'm very excited for the slate, and we got big football stuff coming up, so. I want to ask you. I mean, I know you do some stuff with the Bucks, right? How do we listen to your stuff for that?
We will be our pregame show coverage starts on Sunday at I want to say it's 1:30, 4:30 game kickoff game East Coast time. So we're Buccaneers mobile app is where we're at. So and if you're in Tampa, 98 Rock is where we're at. So yeah, man, it's I'm looking forward to it. It's obviously going to be interesting, kind of see how how the season plays out with no fans, at least for the start. That's going to make kind of things really interesting. We've seen how sports have gone without fans for a lot. It's going to be interesting what football looks like.
Man, so I gotta ask you for some picks. Are you gonna be on the football strategy shows? Because we gotta know which Tampa running back we're going with.
I will not. No.
Oh, come on! You're not giving us the picks because
I will not be a part of NFL coverage. No.
Okay.
No, I will not be a part of NFL coverage.
All right. Well, I was hoping to rack your brain on Fournette, but I want to throw out that we have NFL strategy shows every morning. Mm-hmm. We got live before locks, big Sunday coverage, so make sure to check that out.
And of course, everyone's taking care of their fantasy football drafts. I did mine last night. I was using the draft wingman to help me go through it. You got to use that promo code SLEEPER as you can sign up today for NFL Plus NFL Monthly Pass for 25% off when you use Sleeper at checkout. That's an $80 value for only $38. You got to sign up right now at awesemo.com/join. It was. I had a nice little surprise when I started my draft last night. Alex had the first overall pick. I was really surprised by
man. That. That's a great spot to land because Christian McCaffrey is so much better than every other pick. I got to throw one thing out. The way this all ties back to MLB DFS is, Jason, I don't know if you heard, there's free money Tuesdays or free money Mondays. It depends. Free money Tuesday is everyone wins their money on the weekend of NFL and then on Monday Night Football. And then there's no football on Tuesday, so they all join MLB contests. And that's what we've been training for are these contests because they throw out some huge ones. So I'm really looking forward to those.
Yeah, it's great to have football back in our life. As a football guy, that's looking forward to this weekend. Man, it all starts 2 days away, Alex. 2 days. Are you ready?
Man, I've been working all summer on this, as you mentioned, like the draft kit and everything. So I think it'll be really fun because there's some new players that people are going to be taking, guys like Antonio Gibson, even James Robinson. So you gotta find out on our shows who the hot picks are because lots of rookies this year.
If you're following things, Alex, you'll know Gibson is not RB1 in Washington.
That's no surprise to me. I just feel bad for everyone who took him in the 5th round because I'm sure you could have gotten David Montgomery, you could have gotten Kerryon Johnson, other guys that are actually starting.
Look, you got to take some chances week one. Who's going to be playing, who's not, and obviously this year's is a different year. No preseason, so you couldn't really who's that guy that lit it up on the preseason games that made the roster. That's part of the world we're in now. So, but of course, be sure to check out all our fantasy football coverage right now over at Awesemo.com. Alex mentioned about all the shows we have going on. So that is going to wrap it up for the MLB Live Before Lock show. Of course, we're sponsored by Yahoo. Be sure to check out Yahoo right now, Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. That's going to do it for this edition of MLB Live Before Lock.